Yeah, so this is just a quick video on a question that I've gotten from a lot of people who have low back pain, knee pain, hip pain that just continues to kind of like flare up at random. Okay, why does this happen? Does it require surgery? And what are some of the reasons behind this and solutions? So we're going to kind of wrap this into understanding just very quickly, like what is pain? Okay, and first of all, let's talk about what pain is not. Okay, pain is not a static image or an MRI. Okay, pain is not a herniated disc, a torn rotator cuff, or meniscus tear. Okay, you might have been told this by surgeons or by your chiropractor or doctor or whatever. You have a herniated disc, therefore you have pain, or you have a rotator cuff tear, therefore you have pain. Okay, frankly, this is not true. Okay, unless you've been in a major car accident or you've been bitten by a shark or something like that, and you're feeling pain immediately as a result of that. Okay, then damage that has been caused by things that have happened years ago is not going to be representative of why you hurt. Okay, what it does indicate is that a way that you're moving might be kind of sensitizing or kind of provoking pain in the area. And I kind of relate it to a scab in the sense that if I stand or sit in a certain way that my body doesn't like, I'm picking at the scab. Okay, I'm putting more pressure in one area. I'm provoking, maybe a very old injury that already exists to be painful. Okay, and so if I scratch the scab enough, it starts to bleed, and that's when our body starts to send pain signals back to the brain. But in reality, what pain actually is a perception of what is going on. Okay, it's a construct of our nervous system. It's the way the body communicates potential damage or an image of potential damage back to the brain. And the thing about that is that this system can get damaged. Okay, like you can imagine or image areas of pain that don't actually exist, but because you've moved a certain way badly for a long time, or you're doing repetitive things to continue to pick the scab, the body's perception of pain in that area becomes more constant, and therefore it's easier to kind of like flare up or provoke that area. So that's why you can't say that a herniated disc is something that's causing pain. Okay, that's just the result of something that's happened over a long period of time or whatever. So fixing the disc or repairing the rotator cuff, if you're not painful all the time, if the level of pain is not constant all the time, is not necessarily going to fix the problem, because the symptom, it's merely a symptom. Okay, the thing that's causing the problem, the way that you move or the repetitive stress that you're continuing to put on whatever area that we're dealing with, is typically going to be the thing that is causing your pain problem. So then what do we do instead? So if you look at what causes pain, we have a lot of factors from, emotions to, previous injury, fatigue, that sort of thing. And so there are a lot of things that could potentially create pain, but look at the things that we can control. Okay, posture and movement accounts for almost 40%. And again, this is like a rough estimate. This is, but this, when we look at kind of the research, the way that we move and the stresses that we place on our body, have a big impact on the way that our, on the perception of, the way an area orients, or, whether an area is going to be painful or not. And a perfect example of that would be like if I shift more weight onto one side, I kind of stand on my right side and then I'm walking on my right side, and maybe I had an injury on the other side, so I'm avoiding the left side a little bit more. Over time, gravity and compression is going to start to send danger signals to the brain, and we'll start to get aching in that area. And one of the ways that you would kind of notice that would be like if it gets more painful throughout the day, or kind of if your pain fluctuates. All right, the good news is that if you have good days and bad days, your pain levels go up and down. That means that there are elements other than the fact that you have tissue damage. If tissue damage were the only issue, then it would be constant all the time. Okay, so these are things that we can affect, certainly our emotions and our posture and movement. And so typically pain is going to come down to repetitive stresses, okay, such as posture, muscle fatigue, the way that we sit or stand. And so what are the difference between these two things? So if we look at an acute stressor, like man gets bitten by a shark, okay, so this is something that could initially create pain, okay, but once the wounds heal, we would expect them to go away. But if we continue to do things in the gym, like for example, if I have extension-based back pain and I continue to do an exercise like a Superman, then again, I'm just picking at a scab. Or if I stand in a certain way, let's say I have pain on my right side, I'm doing the B-boy stance like LL Cool J. Again, I start to get pain in that area because I'm shifted over there just repetitively a lot. Or if I'm carrying a lot of weight in the front that's pulling me on my toes, and I put a barbell on my back, all right, I have to arch my back more to stand up and to get upright again, okay? And so that's a problem because that could also potentially provoke pain. Imagine being in a body pump class where you're already shifted forward under your toes and your back is already arched, putting one of those little 15-pound bars on your back and doing 800 reps. Yes, you're going to work up a sweat, but you're also going to piss off that area over a period of time. Okay, and so it kind of becomes this cumulative injury cycle where we might achieve some sort of an injury initially where I tweak something or I get hit by a car or whatever, but ultimately over time the cycle continues to perpetuate where pain is provoked over and over because I get this like altered neuromuscular control. I start to develop muscle imbalances and I'm just not moving like I should in that area. So really the solution to that is that we want to pick some different movement strategies and kind of look at what you can and cannot do right now and then kind of expand to give your body a little bit more variability, meaning it can move in a lot of different ways so it doesn't key in and put an exorbitant amount of stress in that particular area versus others. And I'll get a little bit more into that in our next video.